could I get the person on the telephone to give one more audio check?
Yeah, can you hear me? It's Tracy Lesage.
Perfect, thank you.
Is it?
We hear you in.
Okay, you're welcome.
We hear you in stereo. You sound amazing.
Oh wow, thank you. I'm in Bluetooth in my car. I was at a conference that it ends at 3, so I just left. So I'm usually in my desk. So
So you know me, I'm always prompt. So I'll call this meeting to order. And to do that first, let's have a roll call if we can. And since we're all have telephonic members and participants, we'll do an audio roll call.
Andy Besser, Larry Chung, Kelly Condon, Justin Delacruz,
Here.
Stuart Shea,
Here.
Tracy Lesage,
here.
Phil Spiegel.
Here.
Okay, we have 4 people out of 7, so we have a quorum.
Great. Yep. At this point in time, I'll see if we have any public comment from the public. Hearing none, we'll move along. So oral report. I thought Andy was going to be here.
He was, but he sent an email that he's not. I think he got stuck on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Travel snafu.
Okay, got it. All right. And then,
Kelly was supposed to be calling in.
okay, she still may call in. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. So, just for those of you who don't know, that Andy Besser is no longer going to be serving after this term, the end of the year. And the same for Kelly Condon, and the same for me. So that really is my report. So we'll move right along and approve the minutes. So we have a copy of the minutes before us, held on October 15th. Give you a second to read and review it. It's not that long.
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Okay, that's all of us, so it passes. Staff report, recent developments, A.
Okay, moving right along. So for my staff developments, I have a few updates. One of them is just to let the committee know about a new technological update that the bar is doing to the Oracle Fusion program, which is what the staff use, what we use for recording our pay and getting paid and times. And we will be able to start using for expense reports to get reimbursed, and the committee will also be able to use that system to get reimbursed for travel expenses, for example, for coming to these meetings. So that will go live. Jennifer knows the exact date, but it's next year. It's like January 9th. Okay. So it's the beginning of next year. Jennifer will be able to help anybody get set up in the system, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty simple. You'll just get your own login, and then you'll be able to put in your expense reports.
Yeah, there won't be any more paper forms. I believe there will be a mobile app, and so I'll send you the information when I get the information.
Next for me, I think everybody knows this, that the fee bill has passed. In case you did not, the fee bill passed. Included in that, related to the LAP, is that there will be a fee holiday for 2020, which means the bar will not be collecting more funds for LAP. We will be existing on our reserves for 2020.
Was this ever discussed with us? I don't recall.
I don't recall either. No.
I thought we mentioned it at the last meeting, no?
After it had been proposed?
After it happened, yeah, I don't
That's
think
awesome.
we talked about it before it happened. Not that I remember. We are still collecting the $1 of every $10 that would be, so $1 from every active member that will go to the other bar. And I spoke with David Mann recently, who's the other bar consultant, and they have it on their radar that they have a report due for the accounting of how they spent the money for 2019. It's due March 1st next year, so hopefully we should be seeing that pretty soon, and we can see where that money went. Let's see. And then lastly, I wanted to give you an update. I know I've been telling you as the year goes along what Lita's been doing with her presentations and who she's spoken to. And Lita actually is now done with her 2019 presentations. The next few weeks, I guess, is not a big time for people to want speakers and MCLE. So I have her numbers now. She did 24 law school presentations in 2019, which is great because the metric we had set for her was 20 for the year. So she clearly met that. And then she also did some exhibitor tables. She did some presentations for State Bar, for attorneys at the State Bar and for staff at the State Bar, just to know about what the LAP does. And then in the other category, I have it broken down if anybody's interested, but she did a lot of inns of court, bar associations, law firms. The metric that was sent for her was to do 20 law schools, 10 other, and she did 40 other in 2019. So she was very, very busy with that. And she's already fully booked for January. So yeah, she's really been working. In terms of our numbers and that metric, which everyone's been interested in, so far, 2019, we've had 153 intakes, and our goal was to increase our intakes by 10% this year. So last year, we ended the year, our total intakes for 2018 was 148. We're at 153 now. We've got 3 more weeks in the year. We've got, I think from the emails that were going around this morning, like 3 new people on deck to be counted in this. So we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm not going to hold my breath, but we might make it to 10%, depending what happens in the next few weeks. That's it. That's my updates.
Great.
Our recent developments.
Do we track how many people call the number, the hotline that we have?
Yes,
Do we have those do you have those numbers?
I do not.
Okay.
I'll have it at the end of the year for when we do our annual report. But yeah, we track all of the calls that come in, and then we'll separate the ones, because we do get a lot of wrong numbers and people that are looking for assistance from lawyers, not for lawyers. And so we'll separate those out from our actual informational calls and have that
Okay.
at the end of the year. Yeah.
Do you have any preliminary numbers about or what those numbers look like
For calls?
For calls.
No, I don't think. Have you seen that? I haven't looked at it at all, I don't think.
Do you want me to look it up and send it to you?
Yeah, it'd just be nice to know what kind of fruit our outreach efforts have given us, if any.
email
I'll
it?
try to look into it, but it will take a while to separate out. Like we get people calling, looking for attorneys. We get attorneys calling that want to pay their dues, that want a card. I mean, we get like, it's on the bar card lawyer assistance program, so people kind of think it's a catch-all for anything you need from the bar. So I'll try to get those numbers for you. It probably won't be right away, but I will diligently try to get that together for you.
Is that something that we can track like on a more quarterly basis, or is that more of a like?
I think
how
so. Yeah.
Knowing what our utilization is, because that's one of the main arguments about why it should or should not exist within the bar. I think that's important that we track that so that we have accurate numbers, not just anecdotal evidence.
Okay.
All right,
I think
anything
we will be doing, Lori, new metrics for 2020, right? So perhaps for the quarterly metrics, we put that in there.
Okay, any other recent developments? None, right?
No other recent developments.
See, I just want to thank Kelly. I wish she was here on the phone, but thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Andy, and I thought Andy was going to be here too, so.
I know that for the acknowledgement of outgoing oversight. I was going to say thank you too, and you're the only person of the three of you who are leaving now to say thank you to, but all three of you have been very supportive of me since, I mean, it's been almost 2 years now that I've been in this position, unofficially at the beginning, but yeah, almost 2 years now. And the entire committee, but the three of you, of course, have been from the very beginning, like supportive and really helpful.
Well,
So
I've
thank you.
enjoyed my time with everybody associated with the LAP.
I thank all three of you. I've learned a lot from all three of you, and your dedication to this cause is very heartwarming to me, and I'll really miss the three of you, and it's been great working with you.
Same here. Thank you very much. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Is there anything you want to say, having been here for
20
many,
years?
many?
Can't believe- yeah, from day of inception. It's been an interesting ride, to say the least, so, but, I believe in the cause, so, and Justin's is the fruit of our whole process, and we hope we can get more people, like you involved in it and be a productive member of the society, especially the lawyers that have fallen astray on us, for whatever reason. Okay, what's recruitment of new oversight meeting? How are we gonna deal with that?
So it's going to be posted on the State Bar website. We put in the request, and I checked today. I don't see it on there, but there's a page that should be up very soon that talks about volunteer posts that are open for the different committees and boards. So it will be on there, and the application is still on the LAP section of the State Bar website. If any of you have somebody you want to refer, certainly let us know, and I can send them the link to that application.
Okay.
What is the application process? Because this is through the Board of Trustees, right? So
Yes.
these are the Board of Trustees positions. What is that process?
Are you very familiar with the application itself?
So the application itself is pretty much like a resume, and then they have specialized questions. And obviously for these positions, you'll have to meet the specific qualifications for each one. But then it goes to the commission, to the staff, and then we present those to the staff here at the bar that handles the application process, and their board liaisons who review the recommendations, and they might want to call the people or talk to them or look at their resumes more, and then it will go to the board for a full vote.
I think they can include letters of recommendation also. I think it's
Yes.
optional, but I think someone on this committee sent me a letter of recommendation from someone else at some point.
So, and what Lori means about the qualifications, what we're looking for, in case you don't remember, it's what's outlined in the statute. So we are still looking for 2 members who are licensed mental health professionals with knowledge and expertise in the identification and treatment of substance abuse and mental illness, is how it's worded in the statute. 1 member of the board of directors of a statewide nonprofit organization established for the purpose of assisting lawyers with alcohol or substance abuse problems, which has been in continuous operation for a minimum of 5 years. And then 2 members who are lawyers, at least one of whom is in recovery and has at least 5 years of continuous sobriety.
Would it be considered a conflict of interest if one
Group facilitator?
Yeah. I'm just curious how that would be viewed.
I don't know if that would be, I had not considered that before. It probably would not be because we've had evaluation committee members on the oversight committee or vice versa. We need to check that with general counsel.
I suppose, I mean, what would be the conflict? Because are these people who would actually be working with the participants?
Right.
Yeah. Is there somebody I may be able to talk to?
We don't evaluate individual participants. This is for the 4 years I've been
Or
on
he
the
construed as a conflict of interest, since that individual is receiving monies from the participants, and then also making judgments about how that everything runs.
I can look at the
Yeah.
conflict of interest forms that you have to fill out, you know,
Sure.
when you are on the committee.
Confused, because
See what
there's somebody
falls
I
under.
may be able to talk to.
We'll look into it and then we can send you the application and, to forward on. If
Okay, great.
no need to get their hopes up if we think they definitely can't, but,
Yeah, just let Jennifer know. She'll know.
okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then as part of the new oversight committee members and positions for the next year, we'll need to nominate a chair for 2020. If anyone would like to nominate or be nominated.
I'll nominate Justin.
Second.
Except,
You accept?
Yeah.
And that goes to the board, right? Probably for the January meeting?
Yeah.
one snafu is that I haven't officially
That's
been
right.
reappointed by the governor yet. So,
Contingent upon reappointment.
He doesn't have a chance.
1, 3,
Yeah, no problem. Any problem. You can help Governor do some green forest for President Trump.
In the streets.
Justin, we might need to ask you, you know, for like your resume and things like that, just to present to the board for the presentation. I'll have Jennifer contact you when we find out what might be needed.
okay.
Thank you for agreeing to do that.
Okay. Item 4, business status report on implementation of the LAP strategic plan.
Okay. So I did not include the entire packet with the agenda today because you all have seen it several times of the whole list of things that we've been working on from the CRO recommendations and strategic plan and National Center for State Course recommendations. So I just wanted to talk briefly about the things that are still ongoing that we need to work on, and that would be potentially areas that people from this committee can help with. If anybody has the desire to do so, I know, talked a lot about outreach, and Lita is doing it. We still have as an ongoing goal, of course, to continue to promote the transition assistance services and the whole program to the specifically outlined attorney groups of those concerned with issues related to aging or cognitive decline, sole practitioners, law students, and newly admitted lawyers. So if there's anybody who wants to volunteer to do any like actual outreach presentations, because Lita does get requests that are, you know, sometimes overlapping, that she can't do all of them that she receives and can't always be rescheduled, so they go look somewhere else. So if anybody would like Lita to contact them, if she's booked and gets a request, then I can certainly pass on the name. She could do that. And the other thing that we had been thinking of is if anybody wants to write an article or has something that they just even want to write something brief about the program or something that's relevant, we've been asked for a couple of newsletters. There's a dean's newsletter that goes out quarterly to the law school deans, and so admissions has told us that we can include something in that newsletter. And of course, we can always put things on our website. And I think I have that as one of our later goals also, is always to keep updating the website. So if anybody wants to take a look at the website and see if there's anything that needs updating that you'd be interested in commenting on, that would also be helpful. We have the screeners on there, but especially, you know, mental health things get updated all the time. If there's anything new that anybody knows about that we would want to include, that would be useful. And yes.
On the outreach, being new to this area, what were some of the things that we thought, on the aging and the cognitive impairment? Are there certain places we could go to? Are there certain places we could go to reach out to people on this area? Does anybody have any ideas of how that came up and maybe what we could be doing more in that area?
You mean on wellness issues and?
Yeah.
That's a real good one.
Well, Patrick Krill had mentioned that there was each state is creating its own wellness task force, and California does not have one, and maybe that's something that you might want to look into in conjunction with the Judicial Council, because I think most of the chief justices of their respective Supreme Courts are kind of taking the reins on that in their respective states. And
And
if
I
there's
know-
something going on in California, we should definitely be a part of it.
Right. There's some county bar associations, I think it's LA County, has their own task force on wellness and have been in contact briefly with us, but
Let's
Yeah,
see what
I
we
don't
can
know
do
how
to
many there
partner with
are.
them, and if they know of any others. And if LA has one, maybe San Francisco has one, and maybe San Diego has one.
okay.
I wonder if we can look at what the ABA has. I wonder if they have any groups that focus more on like senior lawyers or things like that when people are thinking of leaving practice and
They
what
do, and
steps they take.
They have a wellness program that the ABA was, promotes, and somebody should try to contact the National COLAP and see what they did, since we didn't make the conference. Hopefully, somebody from our LAP can go to this year's. We've missed the.
Michelle, did you go to COLAP this year?
No,
Mm-mm.
Did
we were
anyone?
not able to find.
No one from California could go.
No one from California could.
Because of where it was being held.
We have a ban on going to
Certain states.
that forbid.
Oh, yeah, right. Got it.
Because it was in Texas, right?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
No, this year was in Austin. This-
Discrimination.
Yeah.
against gay
2020 is in
and
Austin?
2019 was in Austin, 2020 is in Massachusetts, so we'll be able to go in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since it was in Texas this year, that's why nobody could go.
We haven't gone for a couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
And that's COLAF?
COLAP.
LAP, okay.
Yeah,
Probably October,
it's
November.
in September, I think it's
September.
September in Massachusetts, yeah.
Okay. Do you know the date?
Not offhand,
It
but I
might be
could very
online, I can
easily,
try to look it
yeah,
up.
send it to you. And actually, Phil, in the Federation for State Physician Health Programs had their conference in Texas in the beginning of 2019 also, so we weren't able to go there. Have you ever been involved with them? Because they're going to be in San Diego in 2020. So that might be a very easily accessible one that we've been talking about going to also. And there's from several LAPs around the country, they send representatives also to that one.
It would be wise, if it's something we could attend, we should go,
Mhm.
because we haven't been going there for the last couple of years.
And they have all the cutting edge kind of research on professional monitoring.
That's right.
Recovery, so.
Right.
The dates for the 2020 COLAP in Springfield, Massachusetts are October 20th through October 22nd.
It'll be
Oh,
cold. But it'll
okay.
be the change of seasons.
In October?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's October.
October 20th through the 22nd.
make sure you go to Salem.
Okay, anything else
right.
on that topic? That was regarding the outreach, and then another one of the tasks that we had talked about was the policy and procedures manual. So that had been provisionally updated until we found out what was happening with the split, if we were going to be leaving the bar in 2019, which we're, or starting for 2020, which we're now not. So we can formalize that. If there's anybody who would be interested in going over that and reading, we can bring it back to the committee at some point. Of course, you know, this is a living document. We've been making changes as things go on, so it's fairly up to date with what we're doing, but we could always flesh out more areas, and if there's anybody who wants to volunteer to take a look at it, that's an option. And then I know this was, unfortunately, Andy is not here because this was an area that he had talked about at the last meeting. We were talking about apps and using different types of technology for our participants. And I have the list that we talked about last time, but I remember thinking that there were some people who were going to come back with ideas, it might have been Andy, of other apps that would be
Right, and I
relevant to
think
look
it
at.
was Andy, but
So if anybody else has any ideas, I could always just email him separately, but let me know if there's ideas or if there's any that you're using or that you want to pilot from what participants are already doing to make sure that we think that that works for our needs.
Is there any way to poll our current participants and see what they're using?
Well, I did for the last meeting, so I have a list. We can always do it again because I'm sure this is, something that changes. Is everybody interested, or I could just pass this down if somebody wants to see the.
Maybe, if there's not a lot, maybe we should read them since Tracy is
Oh, right.
on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I can read them if you want.
I got it. So there's a SMART app, Smart Recovery Cost Benefit Analysis for Smart Recovery. AA Big Book, Calm, which is a meditation app, mindfulness. There's a CBT Thought Diary. There's Simple Scanner and Tiny Scanner that people use to help keep track of their meeting cards and then submit the meeting cards to us. Headspace, of course, is a common meditation one. Insight Timer also. And then Talkspace and BetterHelp, both therapy apps. I've not been paid to endorse any of these. I cannot vouch for their efficacy.
And these are apps that they're using on their own that they find helpful, or are some of these sort of required by the groups they go to?
They're not required by us, but I think group facilitators have recommended to people, and they found them on their own, and so this is what they've been using. And those are the main things. I mean, we've really made a lot of progress towards our strategic plan. So those are the, I'll double check, but yeah, those are the things that are still ongoing.
okay.
Michelle, maybe it's assumed that Justin gets appointed as chair. Maybe you could schedule a meeting in January with him to kind of go over these again, and we kind of find out what our makeup of the commission might be next year, who's going to be on, and you guys can talk about, either giving assignments to people based on their skills or what they're interested in, to see what would be the best way to pursue some of these once we know, who we're going to be working with next year. You can, if you have a draft of the manual, you can give that to him also
Right.
as a beginning point. Do you have any other ideas that you want Michelle to start looking into to talk to you about next year, maybe, Justin?
We can start with what you had suggested, and then I'm sure more will come.
Great, I'm sure. And speaking of more will come, is that the segue into the?
We have an update on the attorney supervision and assistance redesign project. So this is the plan that is redesigning the way that the state bar handles its probation here at the bar, and that includes people who, through the ADP program, have been referred to LAP. But what we're looking to in the future is to make it a less, on the probation side, it's really mainly a self-rehabilitative probation process. And for some of the participants, especially if they have substance use or mental health issues, and they may not be in LAP, they're not being able to self-rehabilitate. It's just from the beginning they're having issues, even complying with getting in their reports, things like that. So what we're looking to do is to create a more helpful process for the participants, still with public protection in mind, but trying to reduce recidivism. And one of the things that we're hoping to create along the way is more of a collaborative court model, working sort of like a drug court does in the superior courts, And we're really just at the beginnings of working on this process and getting the ideas flowing. But as we move forward, we're going to be bringing you updates on how we're doing on creating that new court and what we think it's going to look at. And those of you who have experience in dealing with courts like that, or have ideas of how it might be best to help the participants, will be looking for input. So we think it could be something that could really end up helping the respondents who have these issues. And we're creating a risk assessment to try and really tailor the probation conditions to the best way we can to what the risks are with each participant, what their needs are, and then what stabilizing forces they have in their life, and then trying to gauge the probation conditions to them. What can we give them to help support their probation and help them move forward? Do you have anything to add on that, Michelle, as we've been meeting on these things?
I don't think so. I mean, without getting too much into the weeds, that's really what we're doing, and it's just the beginning. So I'm sure there will be more updates coming next year, but we've had a lot of preliminary meetings, and so I know there's a lot of Brian Richard is the program. What's his title? He's not program manager. Sorry, project manager.
He's really our consultant, our outside consultant. Yeah.
Right, so he's got a lot of meetings coming up with different stakeholders in 2020.
Yeah, and we've been getting great feedback from the LAP staff on learning how some of us who are new to how LAP works, learning how they approach working with the participants, and the tactics they take in their initial intake meetings and so on. We're trying to hopefully incorporate some of that into what we do in the new system. So they've been really helpful in sharing their expertise with us.
Okay. Anything else? Then I think we just need to probably calendar our next meeting.
Well,
We don't have a drop in the, at least we have a target date you guys can meet.
We usually used to meet like March.
Right.
We used to meet quarterly.
right, so at the end of the first quarter of 2020.
March, June, September, and December, or something like that.
Okay, so maybe you guys
So-
can send some suggested dates out or something.
Yeah, we should do a doodle poll because we don't even.
Well,
Tracy's
there's four
on
of
the
you
phone,
now,
and we'll have
it's
yeah.
staff and stuff. You can look at the schedule and maybe.
We'll need Larry's input. Yeah.
Right.
So let's do that and double check the dates of like the FSPHP conference and make sure because it's sometime at the beginning of the year.
Which conference?
The Federation for State Physician Health Programs.
So Michelle, do you want to see if, well, it's,
State Physician Health Programs.
State physician health.
is that in March?
I don't think it's at the beginning of the year, but I really don't remember. I know it's in the first quarter. I do not remember what weekend. Yes, they do. Yeah.
PHP?
It's called a PHP.
Federation for State.
Okay. Being no other business, do I hear a meeting to adjourn to go to the holidays?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, aye. Aloha. Good. Thank you very much.
Aloha. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Stuart, for everything.
Oh,
I
my
appreciate it,
pleasure.
Tracy.
Everybody have a great,
I hope you
great
stay in
holiday.
touch. Thanks.
Michelle, that meeting is
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Did you find the date?
Bye.
April 30th through May 3rd.
Bye.
April 30th.